Perry is not at all what I was expecting, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. This is a 1957 Disney nature documentary directed by Paul Kenworthy and Ralph Wright, and it's narrated, of course, by the brilliant Winston Hibler, who did a lot of the narrations for the early Disney documentaries. And based on the description on IMDb, I actually didn't think it was going to be a nature documentary. It says that it tells the story of a female tree squirrel called Perry, and I thought it would be much more of a work of fiction. But actually, it's just a really brilliantly written nature documentary. And it does, of course, focus on Perry, and it actually starts with Perry as a teeny weeny little baby squirrel, and my goodness, so adorable. And we see her growing up as the seasons progress, and we see how the seasons affect the squirrels, but also various other animals. I'll talk about some of the other forest creatures that we get to meet in a moment. And we see her growing up through the seasons and how the seasons affect different forest animals. And then we see her falling in love with Poro, who is another squirrel. And the story there is pretty incredible. I might discuss the ending with a spoiler warning because it genuinely impressed me and moved me. Moved me to tears almost. It was pretty fabulous. And I think it's a really nice setup. It is basically just a nature documentary where we follow this squirrel, but also various other animals. We have so many baby animals. There are marten babies, which are so adorable. The baby skunks, in particular. I'd never seen a baby skunk before. And it is one of the most adorable, fuzzy little things. Of course, we have fox cubs and big cats and their babies, and it's so beautiful. And it's quite an emotional roller coaster because, well, this is something that happens quite early into it. So I'm going to discuss this. It's not really a spoiler, but if you don't want to know what happens at all, I am going to share one thing that happens. This marten, and I'd never heard of martens before, but this marten was climbing up the tree about to eat Perry as a baby. But Perry manages to hide, and I thought this is evil, bad marten, evil marten, don't eat the squirrel baby. But then another animal is threatening to eat the marten's babies, and the marten scurries away from the tree to go and rescue its own babies. And then I thought, it was a raccoon. It's like, bad raccoon, evil raccoon, don't eat the marten babies. And it was such an emotional roller coaster to have these feelings for these different animals. And I'm sure if another animal was threatening to eat the raccoon's babies, I would have felt the same way about the raccoon. And it's just so gorgeous and so well done. Now, I don't know for certain that Perry is the same squirrel all the way through. I don't know how they would be able to tell it's the same squirrel, but I think it's done convincingly enough that I'm willing to believe that they followed the exact same squirrel from birth all the way through the seasons and getting these different shots, these beautiful bits of footage. And either way, it's a really lovely way to tell this story, making it more immersive, giving the characters or giving the animals more of a character, more of a personality. And I think it just makes it so much more interesting and so much more fascinating. I'm going to discuss now. I think I've said everything I need to say. The well shot, well narrated, really brilliant structure, great pacing, emotional roller coaster. Now the ending. It's on Disney Plus. I recommend you check it out. It's just over an hour in length. At the end, spoilers, complete spoilers from now, it was horrific, but in a moving way. So first of all, we have the forest fire, and in a way it was beautiful because there was this one shot of this drenched big cat. I mean, it was a small cat, but it was a wild cat. And there was this rodent on the top of its back, and I can't remember what rodent it was, but we could see these animals all with the same goal, all trying to escape this fire and get to safety, save their young. And for a moment, seeing that rodent, which I assume would have been prey for that cat under ordinary circumstances, travelling across the river on this cat's back was just one of the most emotional things I've ever seen. It was just so stunning, and I felt sick watching this bit because obviously humans are responsible for so many forest fires. Not all of them, obviously, but there are things that humans do that definitely cause them or contribute them, leaving behind rubbish, things that can get set on fire more easily, and to see these animals' homes being destroyed, these animals getting drenched in the river and having to run, it's not new information. We know that forest fires completely destroy animals' livelihoods. But just seeing it was just very difficult. Yeah, it definitely shook me up. And then what happened to Porro at the end? I won't completely spoil it, even if I've spoiled the forest fire. I won't spoil the ending completely. But the drama and the dramatic reveal with Porro, my goodness, I wasn't expecting it. So it is beautifully written, beautifully put together, beautifully shot, really stunning, and possibly one of my favourite Disney nature documentaries so far. Perri is not at all what I was expecting, but is completely worth watching.